Hello guys, this is TK UIUX. You're welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be learning how to design this 3D animation tutorial from beginning to end. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's dive into Figma and start designing. Alright, so you open your Figma and you create a new draft and we start. This tutorial is going to be suitable for intermediate designers or beginner designers. If you're new into design, if you follow along, I'm sure you can be able to replicate this on your own. So first things first, we're going to start by getting some of the resources we would use for this design. We're going to start by downloading our can mockup. You go to freepik.com and search for your mockup. First, you enter your search word as can mockup. This would give us mockups we can use to design our drink, our soda can. So I think I used this for my design. You can choose any other can you love or you'd want to use. So you click on the download button and you'll be able to download it on its original size. So go ahead and download this can or any other can you would love to use, and then we're going to search for fruit soda labels. While you search through to see which label you would love to use, you can also filter it by clicking on vector. This would enable us get labels that are editable, labels that we can actually make modifications to. We wouldn't want just an image, we would want to maybe change font or anything. However, you should go ahead, click on vector, and then download this zip file, or you can go ahead and download the EPS version of this file so you can convert it into SVG to enable you make changes to the vector. So go ahead and download the EPS version of this file, and then we're going to look for the floating fruits we used for the design. We start by searching floating pear. Would also use, you can use a PNG. We love PNG, but we don't have PNG version here, so you can just search for an image that you would love to use. Let's remove this vector filter. Yeah, I think this is it. So you can download this file, download it as JPEG. Don't download the PSD version. I don't have Adobe, but if you have Adobe, you can use that. So download the JPEG version. Also search for floating lemon. Yep. So download any image you would love to use, and then you download the rest. You can look for passion fruit, you can look for cherry as well. So because of time, let's save time, let me take you to the files that I downloaded. Alright, so these are the files that I downloaded, and these are the images. So let's copy this labels that I downloaded. So you can go to Cloud Convert, because we can't use it as it is. You go to cloudconvert.com, you select the image you just downloaded, or better still, you can drag it, the EPS file format, to Cloud Convert, and then you change it to SVG. You need a vector, change it to SVG, and then you convert. This will make it editable. If you notice, the font have changed because of the conversion we made from the earlier design. So you download the version and then download it to your device and take it to Figma. Let's go on Figma. Now let's select images, this is the vector file that I converted. This is the file I converted to vector. So you see, we can actually pick on the letters, the text rather, and change them to a font that we desire. Let's say Clash Display. You can change this to Clash Display. You can also change this as well to Clash Display. You see it changes. You can also hold on Shift and select both text and then resize them. You can click on key and tap on key and then drag them to resize. You can also change the font width. You can make it bold if you want. You can make it medium. So this enables us to do all this editing. So, and again, if you want to remove them separately, what I did was I selected the first path. You can see here the first path, and then I went up around here. Yeah, hold Shift and click, then move this out of this place. Now you can see that we have them as separate entity here. Then again, we can change this and also change the font. You can change the font as well to Clash Display or any font you prefer. So this can also change it to bold or medium, any size you want. So what we're going to do again is we're going to add an effect to make it look like what it was initially. We're going to add a drop shadow. We can make it 2 on the y-axis, 2 on the x-axis, and then we're going to increase the blur. You can make it 20. If 20 is not enough, you can make it 30. You can drop down the level at your discretion, whatever you feel you're comfortable with. And then you select everything and you can group them. You can group by pressing on Ctrl G. Now we have our green pair as a group, and then it's editable. We can also change this font, you can change the color, you can do a lot of things with a vector image. So you can name this what? Pair. You can name it pair. So you do that for the remainder of the labels. Choose the one you'd love. So with this tutorial, we're going to go with the green pear, we're going to go with wild berry, we're going to go with lemon, fresh lemon, and also exotic mix. This I chose passion fruit for this. So I already have my frame selected. Alright, so these are the labels that I'm going to use, and then next we get the can, and we're going to remove the background, the image background of this can. You do that by going to your extension, and if you don't have remove BG already installed in your Figma, you can search for remove BG on the plugins and widget tab and search for this plugin. If you already have an API, you can't run it immediately. If you don't have an API, you have to set an API key. So when you click on it, you're going to go to the website, register with the platform, and also get your key so you can be able to use the plugin. So let's remove the background image for this can. Yeah, good. We now have a PNG file of that can. So we can resize. You can resize the frame of this image by holding on your control button and dragging it to the desired size you want. And then this is actually big, so we can also resize the can. You can hold K to scale proportionately, or you can hold your shift button and the knob at the end here and then drag it all the way up. This will retain the actual size and make it smaller. So now we already have our can. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring our fruits to our design. Select all your fruits, drag them and place them in your Figma file. Now you have all your fruits on your canvas. So what I did was I cropped out some of the fruits. I targeted some of the fruits and cropped them out. So you can do that by actually holding your shift key and then dragging it all the way around this place, and then also drag this all the way around here. Let's take out the yellowish part there. You can also manipulate it, then drag it all the way here and drag it all the way here. Also, we can then remove the background. We want it to be transparent. We want it to be as a PNG file. So you can run the remove BG plugin to remove the background. So you see, we have been able to remove this background. Okay, so this is fine. We could use this, and then you can also replicate this. You can flip it around, you can resize it while holding your shift key. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. So you do that for the remaining images, right? So if you also want some of the fruits that are floating, you can also resize to get what you want for the image. So I already have my resources too. I just wanted to show you how to do that. So let's take this out. Alright, so here is my green pear, here is my cherry, here is my lemon, and here is my passion fruits. So like I said, you manipulate, you cut the size, you can rotate it around just to get the perfect sizing, and also you can group them into one image. So when you drag, they're all within the same frame, so you can group them, group all the images you edited or cut to size, and then Ctrl G to group them. So we have our label, we have our can, we have our fruits. Now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add our frame. So the frame of our desktop, we're going to press on F button on your keyboard to take you to the frame, and then you can select the desired size you want. You can use this if you want, but then for this tutorial I'm going to use MacBook Pro 14 inches. So now this is going to be our main desktop frame. And then next thing we're going to do is we're going to drag our can over here, just at the middle. Then we are going to bring our frames. Okay, sorry. We're going to bring them down here, and then we are actually going to we're going to frame this. Let's frame this. Right click and frame this selection, or press Ctrl plus Alt plus G to make this a frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a rectangle so press on R to select the rectangle tool, and then draw this about exactly the size we want. So you can move this to the back by pressing Ctrl backtrace. So this would be behind our label, so we can select a color for it. Let's select the color picker and select this green color. Yeah, so that's that for that. And then you can hold on Alt and select the rectangle tool, press on Shift and drag to the right, just about here, and then Ctrl D to duplicate, and hold Shift to move it, and then Ctrl D to duplicate as well. Select your color. Let's go with this color, and then do that for the remaining. Alright, so we're going to have something like this. So what we did is we have the main frame for the label, and then the rectangle behind it for the background on the label. So you can change the color to whichever color you want, depending on what you want, and then you group the frame plus the background. You can group them by pressing on Ctrl G, and then you do that for all the frames. So now we have our label, and then we can make this a component so that whenever we want to make changes, we can change it from the main component and everything will reflect on the instances. So now that we have this, you can press on Ctrl D to make a duplicate. I'll show you why we needed to make the duplicate. So you can now press on Alt and then drag this to this place. So when you drag and place directly on the can, you can now select, while holding on Shift, select one of the can here, and then click on mask, this here, use as mask. So you can see that the can has taken up the label as a mask. So let's align this properly and place it right at the middle of the can. Now you can see that we have the label on the can as a mask, and then we have the other can that was duplicated behind it. So make sure you click on the label, right? On clicking on the label, you go to appearance, and then you select apply blend mode. Select this and select multiply or plus darker. So either one works, but then let me choose plus darker. And then watch this. This is why we needed to make a duplicate of the can twice. Now if I hide this, let's see that it's plain. It doesn't give us the actual 3D feel we want. So that's why the other image is there to serve this function. Now that we have this sorted out, we can also edit the MacBook frame that we have. So from white, go to fill and then select a color that you want. Now this is too dark. Yeah, something like this. So you can see that our design is taking shape. Alright, and then the next thing we're going to do is we are going to bring our floating fruit down to this frame. Yes, you can always make edits. You can change the size. You can resize, you can drag, you can do this. Oh, you can scale, you can do all you want to do with this. So, but then we want to have the background change, we want to have the fruits change. So what we're going to do next is that we're going to create a frame background, the same size we use for the main frame. We're going to select it again. This will serve as our first background, which is for the green pair, and then we're going to duplicate this, then replicate it 4 times for these 4 frames. So you can choose this color, or you can make it darker. You can choose this color as well for this frame, and then this frame you can choose this color. For this frame you can choose this color. So we have our 4 main frames. Now we're going to group them and make them a frame by pressing on Alt Control G, and this becomes our background frame. So now what we're going to do is we can drag this all the way here, drag this all the way here, and move it to the back. Fantastic. Let's check if it's aligned properly. Let's see if it's aligned properly. Make sure that your frame is in the main frame. And then put it to the back. Make sure that it's in it. It's inside. Yeah, so when you're placed properly, then what we're going to do next is we're going to create the labels behind the fruits. Press on T on your keyboard and then select Clash Display or any font style you want to use, and select 300, and then 300, and then select type the name here. This is too bold, so let's go with medium. Control E. Let's go with medium or semi-bold. Bold is fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the entire frame is equal to the size of the frame. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Our frame size is 1512, but this is 711. So we needed to be able to fill the entire. So you can Shift A to make it a frame, and then you make the size 1512, and then we can duplicate this by holding on Alt and Shift and dragging to the right. Control D, Control D. We have 4 of this. Okay, so let's auto layout and make sure our size is still the same and intact. Okay, so second fruit will be a cherry. The third fruit will be lemon. And the fourth fruit, we can make it exotic. Alright, so select the frame and change this to white. Alright, so let's drag our frame. We can move the auto layout, then frame and drag it right on the frame and adjust it to the middle, and then move it to the back. Our frame is coming to size, everything is looking good. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert our nav bar. You can make a nav bar. Okay, let's just work on building a nav bar. So first thing we want to do is we want to have our text. You can name it anything. Let's go with size 32 and then name it fruity as our logo, and then you can create another text. This one should be 16 pixel, should be medium. So we can have our about, duplicate this by holding on Alt and Shift, and then this will be, then we can make Ctrl D to duplicate, Ctrl D, Ctrl D, Ctrl D. So next will be our shop tab. Right, next will be our shop tab. Next will be our career. Next will be partnership. Don't worry, I'll fix this now. We'll take this out. So we have this three. We can press on the Alt A key to make it an auto layout, and then we can duplicate this and add another contacts tab. So we have this group at the middle, and then we can make this login. We can duplicate it by holding on Alt and Shift and then drag it to the right to make it align properly. This we can turn to register by the platform. Now we can make this look like a button by pressing on Shift A to make it an auto layout. Add a fill of white or any color, and then let's add a border radius of 20. Then we can add padding of 16, and then bottom top padding of 8. Now we can group these two frames into one by pressing on Shift A to make it an auto layout, and then add a padding of 8 or 16. It's good you practice the 8 spacing. So we now have our nav bar. You can also press on Shift A to make it an auto layout. This will be proportionate, this will be proportionate space, so it's on. You can make it auto so that when you resize, it is responsive. So now what I do really is I have the size for this frame. This frame is smaller, so that means this space is equal on both sides. In between, the spaces are equal, but the difference is that I would love this to be at the middle, at the center of my nav bar. So regardless of the space here and space here, let it be at the middle. So what I do most times is I make this an equal size with this. So this I have 150 pixel, and this I have 98. So most times I turn this into a frame, Control A, and then I extend the size to this size, 150, and then I align this to the left. So this is going to be placed at the center of my nav bar. Now you can also improve the padding of this nav bar. Now we can do 40 on both sides, and then we can do 16. Yeah, so what do we have? 71. We can do 24. Yeah, so, and then the total width should be 1512, the total width of our main frame. So this, we have a nav bar. So on the design I did some few changes. I didn't make it this wide, but we can work with this now. We can actually work with this. Alright, so the next thing on our menu would be, this is too black, too dark. Should we go with white? I think it's fine. So what else? Okay, Alfred. So now what we're going to do is we are going to duplicate this here. Now this is the second frame, so we're going to move this guy. Now I don't want this to move, so I don't want the nav bar to move, so I'm going to not place it on the background but on the main frame. So we're going to move this nav bar up to the top, to the top of our frame, to the top of our main frame. Let's have it here, so that when we move other things, it doesn't move along. So one other thing, press on the main frame and then remove and activate the So I'm going to move it to this end, and then I'm going to move cherry here. I'm going to move lemon here. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to move this all the way here. Hold on shift. Now that we have our text aligned to the left and then our background aligned to the right. Remember, the background is different from the main MacBook frame, so we can check for the background. This MacBook, I have it mixed up somewhere. Alright, yeah. So this is correct. This is correct. Our background should be at the bottom, and then it's aligned to the right. It's aligned to the right. On the next page, which is the second frame, we're going to change the can into a cherry, and then we're going to change the background color, and then we're going to change the title behind. So first, let's start with the can rather. So select the label, move it, hold your shift key and drag it all the way to the left. You can see as it's moving, it's giving us the effect of a can. So let's move it all the way to the right. Now you can zoom in and then press left to move it all the way to the left. Now that is about it. And then we go to the background and also move it. You can hold shift and space to make sure that it is at the middle. Now I already have a challenge. My challenge is with this guy. He's on the background. It's not supposed to be in the background. So you have to be very careful. Well, let's remove this from this background and place it right in the frame. Do the same for this. Move it away from the background and place it right on the frame. So let's give it a try again. We have already changed the can. Let's change the background. So select the background frame and move it all the way. Hold the background, hold shift and drag it while holding space all the way to the left. Good. Once it snaps, and then we're going to change the name of the fruit. Click, hold shift and drag right around here. Good. So yeah, this is perfect. And then the fruits, we're going to get our wild cherry fruits. Let's go here, pick this up. You can cut and then you paste here, and then we're going to move this. We want it to fall off, so we're going to move it down. Hold your space bar, click and hold on space bar while dragging to the bottom like this. Good. So what we want this to do is we want our fruits to be not to be in the frame but above the background frame, and then it is going to be above the text as well. So let's hold our shift and forward braces up. Yeah, so we have our fruits right on top of our text, and then we can also clip content and then resize this. Hold shift and scale. Hold shift and scale. This can actually make it bigger. So you can also twist, you can rotate. So as it's going out, it is making some changes. So we can also hold shift and resize. Alright, so we now have our fruits here. So we can also copy this. Copy this and paste it over on this frame. Right, so what we want to do is we want to scale this down to size. Hold your shift key and scale it, press alt to keep it at the center and move it down, and then reduce the opacity to 0. Okay, so we have our 2 frame sets. The same thing, we copy this frame, duplicate it under, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add we're going to do the same process, change the label of the can, click on the label, press on the space bar and shift key, and then move it all the way to the left. Alright, so moving, and then let's do some adjustment, move it to the left, and here you have it right at the middle. Then we move to the frame, not the main frame but the background frame, this. Now we're going to move it to the left. Hold your space bar and shift, and then drag all the way to the left. Perfect. And then we're going to drop this foot down. We do that by holding your space bar and then clicking, hold your space bar and shift, then move it down to the bottom. So that will give us a fade off effect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our lemon. And then we're going to paste it over here. Good. We're going to paste it over here, and then we're going to copy, we're going to paste the same on this frame. Paste it, and then remember what we did to the first one. We resized it and made it small. So hold your shift key and alt at the same time, and then drag down to a size that you desire, and then reduce the opacity to 0. Good. So we can also move this to the back. Can move this to the back of the can. Perfect. And then we're going to change the name. So hold your space bar and drag and click, drag, hold yours while holding your space bar and shift button to keep it aligned, and then you move gently, don't rush so it doesn't snap out. Good. Now that's perfect. So on to the next one, on to the next fruit. Let's move this by pressing on Alt and Shift and drag to the bottom. Good. So the same thing, we change the label by clicking on the label and then holding space bar, clicking and holding the space bar, and then shift to move to the left, and that's it. Let's check in to see, and you can also adjust to make sure that it's properly over the can. So then we move the background. So drag while holding shift. So we drag while holding. So click on the background, drag to the right while holding shift and space, and move it all the way to the end of the frame and perfect. The next thing we will do is to remove the fruits. So let's get our passion fruits. You can cut or copy, and then Control Shift R to replace. Good. So the same thing, we paste it over here. Alright, and then we resize it by pressing on the Shift key and Alt at the same time to scale it proportionately at the center, and then change the opacity to 0, and then move it back to the end by pressing on the Control and the brace bracket, back brace brackets. Keep it right behind. Alright, so now that we have all our items sorted out, let's try to check. Okay, yeah, remaining this. Let's change the name. So the same thing we did. Press on, drag to the right while holding on Shift and space, and move it all the way to the right until you get that perfect snap. Good. That's it. So now to the moment of truth. Alright, so this frame is supposed to have the lemon. So hold shift and click both fruits, group of fruits, and paste them over here. Okay, so while pasting them, you can drag them all the way to the top. We don't need them on the frame. So while holding spacebar, while dragging, hold the spacebar and move it all the way to the top. Okay, so you have to make sure you're holding the spacebar so it doesn't go out. So drag, hold the spacebar, and move it all the way up. Good, and then release. Alright, so let's prototype and see what we have. So from this bar, you move it to the next frame, on drag, move in, smart animate, and then we can go custom bezier. Move this to the left, move this knob to the right, and set a timer of, let's say, 1500 milliseconds. Alright, let's test this and see what happens. So if there's any mistake, if there's any error, we can correct it before we go far. Sometimes if you don't test, you may end up confused and not knowing what to do next. Alright, so let's drag. There's an error somewhere. Cherries here. All right, let's do that again. on drag. On drag. So animate, and then these two, we go here on drag. So now for the moment of truth. So there's some things I'm trying to figure out. You need to take your time in order to get the hang of all this, if not, you're going to have issues. So make sure that everything is perfectly placed where they need to be. You just have to make sure that everything is perfectly aligned and everything is placed where you need to be. So So orange, what is your problem? Lemon fruits at the top. So let's drag this all the way down, holding the space bar. Place it down here. Alright, so our pear fruit, alright, so we want this fruit to flip as it's coming out, so we can rotate this, we can rotate this, oh no, we can rotate it, and then we can as well rotate this way. For this orange, we can rotate it all this way, can rotate it this way, rotate it anyway. So once the animation is in effect, we would see some motions. So hold shift and rotate, hold shift and rotate, hold shift and rotate. Good. And then you can drag this and place it somewhere here. Alright, now for the moment of truth, let's prototype. Alright. Perfect. 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 Fantastic. Alright, so here we have it. Our 3D carousel animation. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, follow and like for more of these videos. Thank you.